Does Jordan Poole get an A for all-star effort? And is Bub Carrington ready to shine in the second half? Come on, we're going to talk about it next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Your favorite podcast now has a newsletter, introducing the Locked On Wizards daily newsletter. One stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. And start your day with the all-new free Locked On Wizards newsletter. Tonight's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. It is that easy, y'all. So today, it's your boy B Scott again with my guy, AB. We're here to do mid-season grades for Jordan Poole and Bub Carrington. And we may even fit Malcolm Brogdon in there at the end, man. And then we're going to look at the All-Star game. Is it getting worse or better? We definitely going to chop that up, man. So first things first is get into Jordan Poole, man. So Jordan Poole, JP13, definitely had a better first half than last year, AB. So what were the pros? What were some cons? And where do you grade Jordan Poole in the first half of the season, man?
Yeah, definitely the one thing that we harped on a lot was the improvement defensively and turnovers, limiting those turnovers. That's one thing that first half of last season, you know, he was all over the place, and he really improved in the offseason with that. So shout out to JP13. Still think he deserved an all-star vote because, again, at the end of the day, like, he's putting up good numbers, and I get it. I'm not on a winning team, but at the end of the day, you have to look at the situation that he was in. And I think one thing that we're still like questioning, even though at times he makes them, is those questionable shot selections where it's like there's there's still time on the shot clock while you're checking those threes. But it's kind of an interesting situation because at the end of the day, it's like if he makes them, we're not complaining. But if he misses and it's consistent, it's like, okay, what are we doing here? So grade wise, I mean, I'm not obviously don't want to say an A, but like a high B, maybe even a B plus, because at the end of the day, like it was just a great sense of improvement. A lot of people wanted this guy out of DC. It's insane. And now that he's been playing well throughout the season, we've seen 40-point bombs. Again, this dude is an all-star caliber player, and he's not even hit his prime yet. He's still really young. So it's just the future here for Jordan Poole in DC. It's bright, and I can't wait, especially when they surround him with better talent, hopefully, with this upcoming draft.
Oh, absolutely. I agree 100%. And I do understand why you would give him a B+, but I'm going to give him an A- because, before I explain why, I'm going to get into his stats real quick because this is the stats so far in 47 games played this year for JP13. He's shooting 41.8% from field goal range, 37% from three, 87% from the free throw line, averaging, if you round it up, 5 assists per game. So that is definitely one number I like, and 3 rebounds per game. So he is one of many players in this team that aren't centers or forwards that I like get in there and get those boards, man. But he is averaging 21.2 points per game. So he checks all the boxes. And then the most important thing to look at is this: steals per game. He is averaging 1.5 steals per game. So like I said, you got to give him credit. Last year, very up and down, right? You know, coming over as a key acquisition in the Chris Paul trade. A guy who kind of had to go from a team where he was, you know, a 6-man for a pretty much a championship caliber team, a dynasty. And now, you know, went over to the Wizards, and he was the guy. Him and Kyle Kuzma at the time, they were the 1-2 punch for this team. And like I said, very up and down year, man. Obviously, we all know it was well chronicled how bad his first half was. But the biggest thing is he responded. You know, he didn't complain. You know, he didn't get emotional. He didn't get into the media and do this and that. He put his head down. He put in that work. So when they relegated him to 6-man, he flourished. When Tyus Jones went down with an injury, he flourished. This offseason, he could have went on vacation. No, he put in that work. He went in there, he worked on his craft. Not only did he work on his craft, he was able to take a guy like Bilal Coulibaly, who he has a pretty good relationship with, and you know, he has a great relationship with these young guys overall, and brought him into the gym with him. You know, definitely, and you see the improvement in especially offensively from Bilal Coulibaly this year. And I think a lot of that has to do with, you know, obviously Bilal putting in that work. Obviously, Brian Keefe being that developmental head coach has a piece of it. But Jordan Poole, I think, is a guy where you do see these young guys get better with him. And that's why I said that now, you know, at least for the next couple of years, he has the keys. He is definitely the voice of his locker room. And he's earned that right. He's earned that right because he's put the work in not only on the court, but off the court. I'm going to give him A- because everything that you wanted him to work on, he did. Now, obviously, look, now we're going to get into the cons, and there's some cons, obviously, but And don't forget that he is a scoring-minded, a very aggressive scoring-minded combo guard who we're trying to mold into a starting point guard, and that doesn't happen overnight. Obviously, being a scoring-minded two guard, you kind of see that with certain things. He's quick on the trigger, like you were saying, AP, very quick on the trigger. And so he's still learning to be a point guard, and he's still a very aggressive scorer. Like I said, that proponent's never going to go away. John Wall was a very aggressive scorer too. He's a guy who attacked the rim at will, and you can argue that I love me some John Wall, man, but if he ever developed that 3-point shot and a consistent mid-range, man, John Wall, wow. And he was already an electrifying player here in DC. Jordan Poole has all those aspects, and he has a shot. The speed to attack the rim, the vision to really find those open teammates. Then, his ability to use his speed to open up a lot of outside shooters, such as Keyshawn George, such as Corey Kispert. The 3-point shot, well, he is a good 3-point shooter. He's shooting 37%, which you really, your average is around 35%. So he's money him from 3. The con is what really drives me nuts. And like I said, this is something I want him to improve on. But the transition threes, being so quick on the trigger. Now, there's times where you want him to be that aggressive guy, AB. But there's times where you do want to see him kind of be that floor general, really set the offense up. And here's my thing with JP, man. Like, I have no problem with him in attacking out of transition, right? But if you don't have the open drive, if you don't have the opportunity to really push the pedal, settle down, set the offense up. And it's no problem going half court if you can't find those certain matchups in transition that you want to exploit. And he's got to utilize the shot clock. The transition threes, all right, I can roll with 1 or 2, man, but when you get into 4 or 5, it's like, you got to slow that down. But I do appreciate him being aggressive because, look, he's the number 1 scoring option. And the question is not so much who's number 1, because we know who number 1 is, but who emerges as that consistent number 2, number 3. And you're hoping that now Bilal's going to be the number 2 because, look, the time is now for Bilal. Kyle Kuzma's on another team, AB. So I'm going to ask you, AB, real quick. You think the biggest conundrum as far as really, officially unlocking Jordan Poole is for him just to find that balance between being that aggressive scorer and being that floor general?
Yeah, definitely. And it's if he's making those shots, it's like we're not complaining. But at the end of the day, you have to find that balance, especially with a young team like the Wizards, when you got Bub Carrington, Keyshawn George, Bilal Coulibaly. So making sure that you're not taking those crazy shots, because those shots could take away and hinder the offense of these young guys. So again, I did the 1-2 punch of Bilal and Jordan Poole, especially with Jordan Poole being better defensively this year. And Bilal, we know his ceiling as a defender is, it's amazing. It's up there really high. These two can really be dangerous, and I legit can't wait when this young cast just improves year by year.
No, I agree 100%. Jordan Poole, to me, A-. He's definitely has an all-star effort. He definitely, in my eyes, was deserving to be an all-star. Now, obviously, we know with team performance is going to hinder that. Just like it hindered Kyle Kuzma the last 2 years, because you can argue that Kyle Kuzma was an all-star the last couple of years, averaging 20+. But team performance, I don't agree with it, but does have a factor in guys making an all-star game. Like I said, all-star game ain't all that, and we're going to talk about it, but still, you want to see those type of milestones for a player like Jordan Poole, because I think he's earned it. He's put the work in. And so, like I said, aggressiveness, I like. I definitely want to see him have a dog factor, that Mamba mentality, that scores mentality. Being point, I have no problem with him being a offensive-minded point guard, but then you got to find that balance, man. There's times where you have to kind of step back and let your supporting cast, really take that step, man. And that's what I'm saying, that I love his attributes. He's a speedster. He can attack the rim at will. His scoring, his vision as a passer is very underrated. His 3-point shot, he's a sniper. His mid-range is he's put a lot of work into a consistent mid-range, and he does it well. He's definitely an A player. I give him A- because there's times where I want him to be more balanced. Definitely utilize that shot clock. Don't feel compelled to have to, be so quick on the trigger. You got to utilize the shot clock. When I was coming out, it's the same with you, because y'all know you're a baller, AP, is that, coaches used to teach us, man, where they wanted to see 2-3 touches on a possession. The reason for that is, like, there's times where, you want to attack in transition. And there's times where you have to really set the offense up and it goes back to the second point, which is this is a team-wide issue, but moving without the basketball. When guys don't move without the basketball, it becomes stagnant. And then a half-court offense is non-existent, because you basically have 4 guys just waiting around on the perimeter, and then you have the center who's either top of the key or trying to post up down low, and nobody's moving. So those two things, as far as a team thing, they need to move without the basketball. That's going to help them out. It's going to help out Jordan Poole, who's trying to be that point guard. But there's nothing wrong with slowing the game down and setting the offense up. But like I said, this is offense that wants to roll in transition. I have no problem with that. I think with his ability to, again, attack the basket and get to the free throw line and open people up, he's in a position where you guys want to see a lot more balance. Not so many, in transition threes, man. Definitely utilize the shot clock because look, the shot clock is your friend, man. And very often not, it's not just JP13. This is a team issue, AB, where very often these guys are letting the ball rip after 1 or 2 touches. No, ball movement, work the ball around, man. Move it out the basketball. Actually formulate an offensive plan. Just don't go down in transition and try to hit the top of the key 3 every time. I mean, Bub does it at times, but like I said, Bub and Poole both do a great job of hitting them. And like I said, if you look at the percentages, they're hitting those shots. It's just, I do believe as far as a team ball movement type of situation, I want to see a lot more touches per possession, man, in my opinion. And that's why you see these high scores, because it's run down, shoot, run down, shoot, run down, shoot. There's no, you know what I mean? There's no offense being set up. There's no moving out the basketball. It's a 3-point contest. So he gets an A- because I think that he definitely played at the all-star level, and he has formally taken the keys for the franchise for at least the next couple of years, because we do know that eventually contracts they're gonna have to make some hard decisions, but I think he's definitely earned that A-. So Bub, does he get B for Bub? I'm just saying, we're going to talk about Bub. What is his grade for his mid-season grade, man? And then we're going to get into the All-Star game. And is the All-Star, can it be saved? We're definitely going to talk about that. So before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by Hungryroot. When it comes to grocery shopping and meal planning, I've had this ongoing problem. I just don't have the time. Between work life and trying to eat healthier, I was constantly feeling stressed out all the time. I go to the grocery store, buy things I don't need, and end up with no time to actually cook it, right? You ever been there? And sticking to my health goals, that was a struggle too, because I love me some cheeseburgers now. But with everything changed when I discovered Hungryroot. Honestly, it's been a game changer. It's the easiest way to eat healthy without all the stress. Well, Hungryroot is like having a personal shopper and a nutritionist all in one. They take care of my grocery shopping and recommending meals and groceries based on my taste and health goals, from anti-inflammatory to high protein and gluten-free options. And the best part, every meal is ready in 15 minutes or less. Is that easy, y'all. I'm talking quick, healthy meals that actually taste great, all delivered straight to my door. It's been a huge time saver, and I've made healthy eating so much simpler. You're going to love Hungryroot as much as I do. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box and a free item in every box for life. Just go to hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA and use promo code LockedOnNBA. That's hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA. Code LockedOnNBA to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA. Promo code LockedOnNBA. Please do not miss out. All right, B, let's get back into this thing, man. So we were already graded. You gave Jordan Poole a B+. I gave him an A-. Now to Bub Carrington. And like I said, Bub Carrington in the Rising Stars Challenge. Definitely proud of the young man. Definitely proud of not only him, Alex Sarr, Bilal Coulibaly. The future is bright. Like you said, AB, I totally agree that 3 players in the Rising Stars, I said, it says a lot about the progress made. It's still got long ways to go, but there's definitely a sign of progress. So Bub Carrington, what are some pros? What are some cons? And what are some expectations in the second half of the season, AB?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think looking at his stats right now, 9 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Again, a young guy, was involved with that Denny trade. Really expected him to not be a crazy that point guard because JP, that's what expectations were to him. But with Bub, it's like, again, be that combo guard that can facilitate, rebound. There's games where he's had I think 5 to 7 plus rebounds. That's amazing. A guy that 6'5" and very young. Again, he's younger than me, which is crazy to say. I'm old, man. But again, that's just the future here in DC is bright, and that's what we like. Now, if down the line, if they see someone else in the guard position that they like in the draft, I don't know. But right now, I think they love Bub so much. And again, Will Dawkins and Mike Winger, this is their guy, and I just don't think they're going to move on from anytime soon. I think you have Marcus Smart coming in, and hopefully he can learn from him, Chris Middleton as well. But at the end of the day, the improvement that we've seen from every game, it's there. And now with Kuzma gone, Valanciunas gone, will be more usage of him offensively and defensively. Again, he's a young guy, loves to talk. We've seen it from time to time, and again, has gotten hurt, but gets back up. And that's what we love to see, the tenacity. For so long here in DC, we wanted dogs, DAWGS. We need them to build that culture here in DC. And with Bub, I think he's a cornerstone guy for it.
Look, I agree 100%, man. Bub Carrington is a dog. I mean, he is a straight dog, man. I mean, he brings that density on both sides of the ball. I mean, he's the type of player that you want here in DC. And you said it yourself. We needed more dogs here in DC, and I agree 100%. Looking at the tail of the tape, 54 games played this year, averaging around 30 minutes a night. So I definitely love that. Shooting 40% from the field, 35% from 3, 82% for the charity strike. But here's the two stats I really love about Bub, man. 4 rebounds per game and 4 assists per game. So you definitely like to see the numbers being a guard, getting in there and getting those boards, man. And then 2 assists, or not a 2 assists, 4 assists. There you go. And he is averaging around 9 points per game. So I love what I see from Bub. But defensively, you see a lot of energy on the defensive end, man. And that's what I'm saying. When you look at this previous draft, what is the model of the type of players that Will Dawkins and Michael Winger want to bring on here in DC? 3-and-D type of players, guys who can stretch the floor, 3-point mid-range, athletic guys, versatile guys, but guys who can defend. BK has a defensive system that he's trying to implement, in addition to that culture, which is, playing hard, playing to win, but intensity, bringing it in on offense and defense. You see defensively, especially after the trade deadline. I'm just saying, after the deadline, you see a lot more energy, a lot more intensity on the defensive end of it. And you really do. This team has really picked it up as far as defensive intensity. I think that really goes back to look at the players we acquired. All of them have, when you look at Keyshawn George, when you look at Bub Carrington, when you look at Alex Sarr, even Bilal Coulibaly, what is the common factor there? They all defend. They're all good defenders. Every one of them are good defenders. All of them, while you could look at Sarr and Coulibaly and say, yeah, offensively very raw, but you see the potential offensively. There's certain things they need to tweak here and there. In the event of Bilal just being consistent, a lot more consistent, keeping his foot on the pedal and being that aggressive guy every night. And then with Alex Sarr is learning to play with his back to the basket, learning to play with a lot more attitude, a lot more toughness. But I think they will get there. Getting back to Bub, he's a be more cat, and he shows, man, tough. I mean, getting knocked down. There's times where you expected him to be out for the rest of the game. He's back. He's tough. I mean, like I said, his dad is a basketball coach, so he's been, he's been taught to play the right way his whole life, man. Just play tough. That's how be more basketball, man. The tough guys, the tough players, man. So he's a dog. He's a guy who he fits the culture what they're trying to do here. Now, pros, he's a scorer. I mean, he can flat out shoot that rock, man. He can shoot.
That mid-range shot, B.
That mid-range, man, I'm trying to tell you, is money. That 3-point shot. Like I said, there's times where I think there's, and it all comes down to balance, AB. There's times in transition where I'm like, okay, he's got enough space between him and his defender where I have no problem with him letting one go. Because he's been doing well doing that. The mid-range, his ability to attack the basket. Bub I'm saying, he's a star in the making. And you can say the same thing about Sarr and Coulibaly, especially when you go out there and when he's top 3 in the upcoming draft. The future is bright because Bub is very undervalued. Not so much the Wizards, but I think the league is starting to now really realize how good he can be. Because he's going to be a star, in my opinion. He's going to be a really good player in this league. And like I said, hard decisions in the future. Because in the next couple of years, especially the year after next, hard decisions at point guard, man. And, Bub, it could be that guy long term, depending on what direction they want to go with JP13. But even though we all know that JP13 has the keys right now, the hard decisions coming up in the next couple of years, AB. But yeah, I kind of talked a lot, man. But where do I grade Bub? I'm going to give him, I'm torn between B+ and A-, because to me, the only thing he needs to work on is being more consistent. That's it. I mean, you see the intensity, you see the energy on defense, offensively, consistency. We know he can flat out score the rock. We know he's got that vision. And you mentioned before, when you got a guy like Malcolm Brogdon, when you got a guy like Marcus Smart, who can really teach not only him and Jordan, but Jordan Poole, the intangibles of being that point guard, knowing how to run an offense. I think the future's bright with both of them, man, because like I said, going back to Jordan Poole, just balance. The same thing with Bub, just balance. I want to see balance. There's times where you want them to be that aggressive scorer, and there's times where you want them to relegate to being that floor general and look to set people up. And like I said, just that balance with both of them, because once they really figure out how to be balanced, they're stars. And like I said, Jordan Poole, he's an all-star in both our eyes. And looking at Bub Carrington, man, he's gonna be a star in his league because he has those intangibles. He has that, to me, and it goes back to his dad being the coach. He's got high basketball IQ, and he's got the, and that's what you want to see out of a league guard, man. A guy who knows how to orchestrate an offense, a guy who knows how, just how the game unfolds, that high basketball IQ. So I'm gonna give him an A- too, because I think both of them played at a high level this season, man. Now with Bub is consistency and just continue to develop. Is he a finished product? No, he's not. He has still got ways to go till he's finished. And that's what I'm saying, AB. He has showcased a lot in the first half of the season, and he's not even close to being that guy yet. He's not even close to being fully developed yet. I mean, you still got ways to go till he really comes to fruition, and you see the potential with this kid. I mean, so I'm very high on Bub. I think that he is definitely a sleeper in his draft, man. Keyshawn George too, but 14th overall pick out of University of Pittsburgh. I think they definitely found a gem in Bub Carrington. So, all right, AB, let's talk about the All-Star game. Lord have mercy. The good, the bad, and the ugly from the All-Star game
A
this
lot
week.
ugly.
A lot more ugly than good, right? So we're definitely going to talk about that, man. But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started. There's no better place to get in on action than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because with FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game. So even if you missed the opening tip-off or want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay. You guys, I say it all the time. FanDuel, easy way to make money on betting, man. To me, it's the most user-friendly. It's just the best out of the rest, man. So I definitely recommend FanDuel, especially baseball's coming up. You still got the rest of the NBA season, so a lot of opportunities to make that money, man. So right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the National Basketball Association. All right, AB, let's get into it. So, as you guys should know, and if you don't know, you're on the rock, that this weekend was All-Star Weekend. And obviously, we had 3 players in the Rising Stars Challenge with Bilal Koulibaly, Alex Sarr, and Bub Carrington out of B-Mark. So, AB, I guess we'll go by. So I'm gonna highlight certain things that I saw, and then I'm kind of get your take on the All-Star game. But certain things looked at me. Matt McClung obviously won his 3rd slam dunk contest. Shout out to Matt McClung out of the G League. Other participants were Matas Buzelis out of with the Chicago Bulls, Stephon Castle of the Spurs, and Andre Jackson Jr. of the Bucks. 3-point contest, it was Tyler Hero that came away with the victory. And other participants were Cade Cunningham, Jalen Brunson, Darius Garland, and Cam Johnson. And obviously the skills challenge, which was probably the worst skills challenge I've seen in a long time, where you had a team and Victor Wembanyama and Chris Paul cheat. I mean, it was hard to watch. So, all right, AB, what was the good part, the bad part, and the very ugly part of the All-Star game this weekend?
The good. It was good to see the young guys out there. Again, we mentioned it. 3 players from the Washington Wizards. I mean, it's probably a record, I think. Young guys just go out there representing and showing that there's a culture being built in here in DC. Maybe some inside recruiting. I don't know. Just saying. But the ugly, I mean, the skills challenge. I mean, like, come on, Chris Paul and Wemby. Like, at that point, what's the point of any of us just watching if we're just gonna just freaking chuck it? Like, I don't know. To me, it just doesn't make any sense, and it's just no fun at all. Like, what you doing, bro? And 3-point challenge. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna say I watched it. I didn't watch it. It was awesome that Tyler Hero won it, but again, maybe they've got to figure out some other variation. It was the whole Sabrina Ionescu step Curry. That definitely brought attention. I don't know why they didn't do it this year. Maybe something came up with like logistics, but at the end of the day, the All-Star game, whether we're talking about the NFL or NBA, the league needs to get together and just figure out what can they do better, because right now it's really not the same. And then you mentioned Mac McClung from Virginia, that's awesome. But at the end of the day, a G League player winning, like, be honest, how many people actually knew who Mac McClung was? Like, if you're a casual NBA fan, you just a G League player winning the dunk competition, and to me, that sense, you have to send a message to stars and say, "Hey guys, like, put your ego to the side, brand to the side. I know it's hard to do, but go out there. If you lose, it is what it is. It's just for fun. Like, we want to see viewership up, and if the stars aren't playing, like, not going to be that much. So at the end of the day, the league, they definitely have to do something. And I'm not saying like the All-Star weekend, it's bad. They should like end it and abolish it. But at the end of the day, there needs to be improvement, because again, we talk about it night in and night out, especially this year. Viewership is down, and small things like this add up. And if you don't do anything now, it's gonna be late, and you better figure out something now rather than later.
Oh yeah, I agree 100%. I agree in every point you made, AB. Let me say this: the good. Shout out to Bilal Koulibaly, another milestone for a young man who is definitely going to be an all-star in this league. So shout out to my man, Be Cool. Congrats. Same thing with the Big Eiffel, my guy Alex Sarr. Definitely appreciate, he's put in the work, man. So definitely appreciate it, and you definitely earned it with this Rising Stars and Bub Carrington again. Shout out to all 3 of them. That was the good. Definitely, like you said, AB, that is a milestone. That shows you progress, because all 3 of these young men, they earned it, and they put the work in it, and they earned it, and it surely shows that Will Dawkins is hitting on every draft pick so far. We have adults in the front office now. I'm just saying. The bad, like you said, I mean, the skills challenge. Like, did they even try? Like, it's just, He didn't even try to, just toss the ball up. And like, I mean, come on, it's a skills challenge for a reason. Like, try. Like, it was so disappointing because, like, it's laughable. That's all I'm gonna say. Skills challenge was pathetic because why even show up? They ain't tried. Wembanyama and Chris Paul with the shooting portion just tossed the ball up. It's like, what are we doing? All right, let's get into the other part. 3-point contest. Tyler Hero. I mean, there's some good shooters in there, man. I mean, Brunson, Kate Cunningham, Garland, Buddy Hill's always been a sniper. Cam Johnson. So I'm not too upset with that. Slam dunk contest. Nothing against Matt McClung. Shout out to VA's. He's from the great Commonwealth of Virginia, baby. So Matt McClung, you can't take away the fact he's got 3 straight. But then, I mean, he's in the G League. I think, what are we doing? Like, it used to be when I was growing up, your all-star guys wanted to be in the dunk contest. Vince Carter wanted to be in the dunk contest. T-Mac wanted to be in the dunk contest. MJ wanted to be in the dunk contest. Now you got stars. I ain't gonna name drop nobody. LeBron, who doesn't even like you can't do the dunk contest. Like, I mean, and then he was hurt. And then so why didn't you tell the coaches so another player can come in and take your place? It's laughable, man. Let's dive into the ugly. The whole process is ugly. I mean, it's turned into a celebrity love fest. It's all it is. I mean, it's not the ratings are down because the NBA has lost touch with the average fan. They just have. They have no connection to the average fan. They have no connection to the average middle class fan in this country anymore. It's celebrities. It echoes all these like award shows. There was like 3 or 4 award shows you guys get for being actors. You got the Oscars, you got this, you got that. It's like not only do you make millions of dollars to be an actor, you give yourself awards. It's laughable because if you're an average fan, why do you watch that? I mean, the celebrity basketball games, just like, they go through the motions, that's a waste of time right there. I mean, the dunk contest, let's be real. You got a guy who has won 3 in a row, and he's not even on the NBA roster. The guy's in the G League. I mean, what? No star wants to show up? I mean, it really echoes the bigger problem with the NBA, where you have Paul George, who has more appearances on the podcast than he does on the court. You have Embiid, who wants to sit down every other back-to-back game. It's like, it's an entitled, lazy players overall. It's not every player, obviously, but a lot of them, because there's players that call people out. Look, Anthony Edwards has all my respect because he's calling out people out. He's saying, why are you sitting down? People take time out of their day. People spend money to go to these games. And for you to sit down, I mean, but you have no problem going on the podcast. You have no problem doing all these other things, man. But it shows you how the gap between the experience from the everyday fan from your celebrity is it gets bigger and bigger. I mean, look, we all know, go to a Wizards game. Everybody's dressed to impress. Everybody's trying to be seen. But then it's quiet. Nobody's like, you don't see that in Philly. You don't see that in New York. You don't see that in LA. Like, and then people get upset when there's no home court advantage because the fan base has to create that advantage. But then let's be real. Look at a bigger problem. I mean, have you made it accessible to the everyday person? No. It's courtside is laughable prices, man. I mean, there's no seat. You have to spend. Let's be real, you have to spend hundreds of dollars to go to a game. And so to me, it's just laughable. The All-Star game is laughable. It's pretty much there's a break, and they've created into a laughing stock. Nothing against Matt McClung, but your best dunker should be a guy in the G League, AB. Like, what happened to the stars wanting to do this stuff? And then, like I said, even the game tonight, it's not going to be a game, AB. It's going to be, they're going to be shooting logo threes. They're going to make way for the buddy to go dunk. And it's like, there's no point of watching. What are we watching? It's the Oscars just on a court. Yeah, we made it. It's pathetic. And the NBA, you know what? The NBA continues to dig itself a hole because they keep trying to emulate other leagues. Look, the model is being the model, okay? If you want to compete with Major League Baseball, if you want to compete with the NFL, if you want to compete with the NHL, you have to be innovative. This whole in-season tournament is a joke. The playing tournament. It's like, oh, let's give people more chances to make playoffs. Either you do or you don't. I mean, what happened to that? It all echoes the same mentality, which is everybody gets a trophy, and it's just people are losing more. They're out of touch with the NBA because they're not appealing to the everyday fan. Maybe so. I mean, do you kind of echo what I'm saying, or
No, definitely. I think it's outrageous that if I go out to my local LA Fitness, that people there are trying harder than NBA All-Star game. To me, that's blasphemy. And again, it's like, what are we doing here? Imagine trying to explain to a non-NBA fan what the play-in tournament is. It just doesn't make any sense. Why make it so complicated when clearly it's not working? Clearly, viewership hasn't gotten any better. it's essentially getting worse. To me, Adam Silver, you have to figure out something. And I'll keep saying before it's too late, because again, these other sports leagues, they're taking over. That's the reality situation. Even esports, for crying out loud, video games, they're taking over. I'm not a fan of it, but they are taking over. You have to call a spade a spade. So at the end of the day, Adam Silver, you got to go back to the drawing board. You just have to. Like, you got to see what's sticking. And clearly what's sticking, this stuff that we're doing right now, it's not sticking. And I just can't stand it anymore, this all-star game. Like, no one playing defense. It's just willy-nilly. What's the point, genuinely, if you're a fan? Think of it. Like, why would I watch that? Why? When I can just do something else? And again, spending that much money on that type of product, and guys out there don't even want to play. Like, to me, it's blasphemy. And it goes back. We talk about it, how much power these players have. Why do they have so much power? They get paid all this amount of money. Yeah. People work hard, earn money, and then just to see them sit on the bench, to me, it just doesn't make any sense.
It is. I mean, it's a mockery, AB. It's a mockery because you go and I was very close to going. Like I said, we already talked about it. The big reason I'm a foodie, so San Francisco, no disrespect, it's not a big food town, man. But I'm definitely I'm considering going next year to LA. I think this is gonna be a better trip. But I wanted to go to support Bub Carrington, Alex Sarr, and Black Bali. So I was willing to make the trip, man. Just for the experience, obviously, because I've never been to San Francisco. But I mean, to me, I really weighed the pros and cons. I'm like, I mean, the All-Star Games turned into a celebrity fest, man. There's no connection to the everyday fan, man. It's just it's packed with celebrities. Nobody's taking it serious. It's just, you got guys that are hurt. Oh, I'm gonna take a break. Well, there was a point in the NBA, AB, where people felt blessed enough to be an All-Star. Where it's like, man, that's an opportunity. I mean, look, especially from players who come from teams where they don't get the same amount of exposure like the Lakers or the Knicks. I mean, Bucks, people forget before Jonas, man. I mean, can we tell you who the most famous Bucks were? I mean, let's be real. I mean, Michael Redd. I mean, outside of that, I mean, Kareem for a little bit, but
Monte Ellis.
I mean, Monte Ellis. I mean, Ray Allen for a little bit. But if you come from a smaller market, that was your time where you really got exposure. Was put in work in the All-Star game. I remember Shaq dunking on David Robinson. I mean, I remember MJ, Bird. I mean, they played hard. They wanted to win that game. Like, what happened to that? What happened to the competitiveness? What happened to the American players being competitive, man? I mean, the American brand of basketball just is not the same anymore. They don't want to compete anymore. I mean, it breaks your heart, man.
And to switch leagues, I mean, when Sean Taylor knocked out a punter on a fake punt, like, you'll never, ever see that again in the NFL. It's just not the same anymore.
It's just not, man. It's to be seen, it's to be famous, but it's not, nobody really putting in work. Like, people, there was a time where you wanted to play hard in the All-Star game. Like I said, Vince Carter in the dunk contest, that was a show. I mean, T-Mac was a show. I mean, the list goes on. MJ, I mean, there was a show. People wanted to watch the All-Star game at one point. Now it's just like, I can't really compare. I can't really, you know what I mean? It doesn't seem like it's geared towards the everyday fan. So you guys, look, definitely tell me and AB in the comment section. You guys agree or disagree and why? Because I'm not big on the All-Star game. And I definitely want to get back to that point where the All-Star game was, something that appealed to everybody and it was fun to watch. But hopefully we get back to that, AB, because right now viewership continues to dip. And I think that the recipe to success, if you want to regain that viewership, is make the game a lot more relatable to the everyday fan, because the everyday fan, these are the people who pay for the jerseys, the tickets, watching the games. This is where your revenue comes from. The everyday fan is not from the celebrities. The everyday fan is the people who drive an hour to go to the game, who pay for the ridiculous prices of food and jerseys and stuff. The everyday fan deserves better, in my opinion. So that's where I'm at. So you guys let us know. Do you agree or disagree? So, all right, AB, we talked about, let me get out, man. We talked about a lot tonight. So, anything you want to cover real quick before we call it a night?
All-Star weekend, I'm really excited about this post All-Star week, All-Star game, how the Wizards will look. Again, before after they made those trades, moving those vets, it looked better. So I'm really going to be interested to see. Obviously, there's going to be a lot more mistakes because we have younger guys, but legitimately, how many more games will the Wizards win? And also, how much will that affect our draft position? So it's gonna be. I can't wait. I just want to see Bub, Bilal, Alex, all these young guys ball out and just see who fits this timeline. Again, when you're young and you're balling out here in DC, you're gonna be here for the long term.
Absolutely, I agree 100%. So, like I said, me and AB got a lot of content for you guys coming up this week. This is the first of many mid-season grades, so we're going to be grading everybody. Next is going to be Malcolm Brogdon. We're going to look at the forwards and centers. Also, over and unders and predictions for the second half of the season. So, guys, this is the All-Star week where it's a break First game is Friday, so we're going to cover a lot of over and unders, predictions, and grades for the first half, expectations for the second half. So, like I said, guys, appreciate you, everybody. Hope everybody had a blessed weekend, a safe weekend. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Hail to the Wizards, and peace.